the dreaded cyborg, Supreme Commander of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, and Supreme Commander of the Droid Armies and the Separatist Armies, is General Grievous, one of the most easily recognizable, iconic, and powerful Star Wars characters in the movies today. General Grievous made his mark on the world of cinema, arriving immediately within the Revenge of the Sith movie as a tyrannical cyborg who had 4 arms, something that up to that point we had never seen in all of Star Wars, and was truly something that we could get inspiration of for our own stories. Grievous was a monster, with his lightsaber skills, despite not being force sensitive, being among some of the greatest in all of galactic history. And in Legends continuity, he was widely hailed as equal to the great swordmaster Count Dooku, and was even so ferocious in lightsaber combat, he was able to slowly mimic the moves of Vaapad and force Mace Windu to flee, making Mace Windu utterly terrified of the power Grievous could attain if he fully mastered the sequences and movements that Vaapad relied on. General Grievous and his own master, or should I say the master that trained him in lightsaber combat and his tutor in the art, Count Dooku, had a very unique relationship. In many ways, it is quite similar to Palpatine and Anakin's relationship. While certainly not spiteful, it is definitely not beneficial, or in any term rewards the Count or the General. Grievous in his entirety only joined the Separatists because he had no choice. Grievous was maimed, scarred, after Dooku used a cannon to shoot down his ship on his approach back to his homeworld of Kali after hearing there was an outbreak there. Dooku was the only thing Grievous had left, and detested the Jedi for dismissing his abilities when he was a young boy. Dooku joined the Sith because he wanted to bring peace and order to the galaxy, as the new Tales of the Jedi TV show clearly illustrates. We can see this throughout the show, as Dooku will engage in more violent activities if he believes it is better from the galaxy. But what is the relationship between these two prequel-era monstrosities, and their true, unrivaled power in lightsaber combat? To fully deduct this answer, we will have to explore both the Legends, EU Expanded Universe answer, and the canonical answer post-2014 when Disney took over. Now, my friends, let us proceed. General Grievous, the Supreme Commander of Droid Armies and of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, was the head of state, Dooku's most terrifying enforcer, carrying out his will even better than his primary assassin Asajj Ventress, and orders to the letter, and caring little for the innocents that got in his way, hurting all who came before him. In the EU, Grievous first attracted Count Dooku's attention, a wealthy member of House Dooku from Sereno, who had recently left the Jedi Order after what he believed was an unnecessary death of his former Padawan Qui-Gon Jinn, renouncing himself and becoming the 20th member to voluntarily leave the Order. The official leader of the Separatist movement, in quotes, the former Jedi Master and the apprentice of the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious, for a decade now, since as early as the Kalish's tenure as an accountant in an agent of the intergalactic banking clan that was primarily run by the Damasks. The Damasks are famous due to Higo Damask, the public aliases of Darth Plagueis the Wise, one of the most powerful Sith in all of history. Grievous had entered the service of the Malambangers in the hopes that they would aid his homeworld of Kali against the Huk invaders, which they partially did due to his service. As the war between the Huk and the Kalish intensified, raging across his homeworld, Grievous abandoned service to his employers and made to return to his homeworld to help fight against the threat, which earned him the title of the banking clan's chairman, Son Hill. The Mutt had already informed Dooku of Grievous' skills as a tactician and warrior, which had greatly impressed the Sith Lord's abilities. What the latter was not aware of was that Hill initially planned to use Grievous to counter Dooku's growing political influence within the rising separatist movement, but in the end resolved to only provide him with a gift which would solidify his own position when the Confederacy would be formed, as he would have to be created its main military leader. In the hopes of gaining another weapon in his arsenal, a very powerful weapon, Dooku conspired with Silent Hill to bomb the Kaleesh warlord's shuttle, resulting in a serious accident and severe burning on par with Anakin Skywalker, which forced the badly injured and burnt Grievous to undergo reconstructive surgery, which was paid by Dooku's immense family wealth at the hands of the Geonosian engineers of the Stalgian Hive. Archduke Poggle the Lesser's Hive lied to about the involvement of the Galactic Republic, which had previously aided the Hux invaders in his accident, and thankful for the help in his rebirth, Grievous, now the dreaded cyborg monstrosity that would haunt the galaxy throughout the upcoming Clone Wars, that was inevitable at this point, swore his undying allegiance to Dooku. The Sith Lord trained him in the art of lightsaber combat, with Dooku's mind being technologically imbued with all the lightsaber forms, allowing him to switch his style at whim and making him one of the most formidable lightsaber combatants in all of history. He hoped that one day secretly the cyborg would help him overthrow Darth Sidious as an apprentice. Despite his no connection to the Force, soon, however, all of Dooku's hopes were shattered, both by Grievous's disfigurement and the horrific droid-like appearance, as well as by his lack of skill with the lightsaber and lack of the Force. Well, not lack of skill, but lack of finesse and grace. Dooku has gone as far to attempt a blood transfusion from the body of Jedi Master Sifo Dyas, one of the few Jedi he had personally murdered, to allow Grievous Force sensitivity, which unfortunately failed during the surgery. Thus the Count became disappointed and disgusted with his failed apprentice, and even went as far as being disgusted and appalled with the General. The sentiment wasn't mutual, however, as Grievous acted as Dooku's primary military general and enforcer throughout the entirety of the Clone Wars, even going as far to respecting and admiring his master and his power, and believing that he would one day control the galaxy at his side. This was a naivety on Grievous's part, as Dooku planned to use only his true, faithful servants as an enforcer, and then a scapegoat to ensure his joining of Sidious's galactic empire. Grievous had become, by the end of the war, the public figurehead and mortal enemy on the side of the Confederacy, allowing Dooku to easily discard his failed appearance and apprentice and distance himself from the cyborg's most gruesome acts. The only time Grievous held anything but loyalty for his master was on one occasion, when the latter named him a droid, something which greatly irritated the cyborg, and on a few others, where he felt like being tested or treated as an errand boy, as it is stated in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga by Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, let's move on to the canonical answer. In canon, the relationship on Grievous's part is much the same. He even goes as far as to go with Sidious to rescue the Count from the leader of the Dathomirian sect on Dathomir, Mother Talzin, and her son Darth Maul. Dooku, however, is portrayed as more of a malevolent master to the cyborg. He entrusts with his enforcer the most important campaigns, while the Dark Acolyte Side Ventress carries out more stealth missions. He has high hopes for him, and great expectations, proved by how he expected the cyborg to be able to pass a test which required him to kill Jedi Knights Nadav Veb and Jedi Master Kit Fisto. Dooku is only annoyed by Grievous's major failures, such as losing the malevolence and his patience/focus, or relentlessly dismantling droid crew members like they were nothing. While Grievous is only annoyed when he finds out he is being tested to prove his worth, or jealous by how his master trains Ventress as his true apprentice and Savage, but not him. However, it seems that canon Dooku once intended for Grievous to be a candidate as his non-Sith apprentice, reinforced by the fact that the latter refers to him on a few occasions as Master, and Dooku as well calls him my apprentice, at least in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 game from 2017 to 2019. In Revenge of the Sith, we can see that Grievous considers the depths of his master a major setback for the Confederacy, as well as how he boasts at Dooku's precise prediction early on how he was trained by Sith Lord in lightsaber combat. In both versions, Grievous is fearful, respectful, and entirely obedient of his master, while the latter is either disgusted and appalled with him in Legends, or holds him in high regard in canon. Grievous also names Dooku my lord, such as a multitude of comics, master, or count. It is rare for the cyborg enforcer to question his master's actions, and when he does, it is mostly out of curiosity or uneasiness, such as in the case of the mission to hunt down Talzin, with Grievous believing that Talzin was of little importance compared to the scheme they would one day unlock. Well, my friends, what did you think of this video? Are you enjoying the Count Dooku lore we keep producing? Count Dooku is honestly one of my favourite characters in all of the Star Wars continuity, and his mastery over Makashi, the dueling-centric variation of lightsaber combat, truly made it smart, staking his claim as one of the most popular Star Wars characters, despite his widely underrated stance in the Star Wars community. I hope his resurgence in Tales of the Jedi, which premiered just a few weeks ago, will truly deliver the well-respected love that Count Dooku requires. Well, my friends, that'll be all from me. I hope you have adorned yourself with your Jedi robes, ensured that you have amassed your family's Serenian wealth, and I'll see you in a galaxy far, far away.